Good evening. Good morning if you're watching this now. So we're up to week 8. I'm doing this as a screencastify because, to be honest, guys, I'm a little bit disappointed in the turnout for Monday night. Thank you to the 2 or 3 students that did show up sporadically. However, there are 12 of us, so they are not great odds. And please remember that, I'm making time and getting my children sorted and looked after and really pushing to get there on Monday night. And I know a lot of you are, and I know some of you cannot make it. But you guys need to prioritize this. A few of you have not attended a Zoom this term, and we are in week 8. So that is edging its way very close to an N award. So that's a non-attempt at your HSC course. And that starts to get really serious. So a few of you text me, and that's totally fine when you cannot make it. It's those of you that are not turning up and not letting me know that you're not coming that I'm a little bit disappointed in. A, because I'm giving my time for you to be there, and B, you're missing out on the content. So you're really not taking in what you need to know for this course. And having the opportunity to discuss that as a class. So I need to hear from you if you weren't at the Zoom last night. I need to hear from you today by Wednesday at the latest as to why you weren't there, and knowing that you'll be there next Monday. All right, having said that, let's move on with what should have been discussed last night that I'm now spending time today recording for you so that you can get the content. So last week we looked at government responses to racism and those barriers to social justice. Today we're looking at Indigenous responses. So these are the things that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in Australia did to try and combat that social justice issue around the racism and I guess those follow-on effects from colonisation, which we know all about. So remember, for our HSC course, we're looking from the 1960s onwards. And from this time, there started to be a build-up, of a bit of pushback, and rightly so, from Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders in Australia. And a lot of this stemmed from and was given confidence from the civil rights movement in America. So what was happening over there with African Americans starting to protest and demand, equal rights, not better rights or something or anything like that, just equal rights to white Americans. So a really great one for you to watch to understand what was happening over there during that time, which is quite entertaining as well to watch. By entertaining, I mean, it's not a documentary, it is a movie, Remember the Titans. Some of you might have watched that, but it gives a really good example of what was happening in America during the civil rights movement. And you can understand how that then filtered over to Australia. And one of the big things that was happening as well at the time is that media coverage and television coverage, radio coverage was really stepping up in terms of the technology available. So a lot of the world, and remember we're looking at a global perspective here, a lot of the world was now understanding what was happening in some of the areas that they had never heard of before. So it was twofold in that regard. So Indigenous communities around the world were gaining confidence to say this is not okay, at the same time that this confidence and these protests were being televised and broadcasted on the radio throughout the world, so that people that felt strongly to protest with these Indigenous communities actually knew what was happening and knew that this wasn't right. All right, we're looking specifically first at Aboriginal Australians and what the initiatives, I guess, and the kind of things that they were doing to combat this social justice issue. So the first one was the Yolngu bark petition, and that was in 1965. I've got a picture here of what it was all about. So this is bauxite, and this was what started the whole debate in this area. So what this is, it gets turned into aluminium. It's sort of the initial resource to make aluminium. So this is the petition here. It's a bark petition. It was written on bark and signed by the people of the area.